Hey everyone, we're back again. We're now on the final episode of season 3 of the challenge All-Stars. All right, so let's find out who's gonna win. I believe last time Wes was in the lead, and then right behind him was Naya. Yes, Naya made up some points. She got lucky with some competitions there, and she made up some points. So now she's right there with Wes, which means they kind of end up teaming up there. I think towards the bottom is Kellyanne and Mark, like right at the bottom there. They've been shitting the bed a lot in this competition. All right, so we come to the beginning, and it is paddle boarding. All right, hold on. There we go. All right, so there you go. As you can see, that's the competition that they're doing right now, and it's paddle boarding. There's a score. John A at 15, Naya 13. But Naya won the last competition, so I believe that's like what's put her up there. Wes at 18 there, Nehemiah at 15. But John A had an extra 5 points, and Nehemiah had an extra 5 points from getting the 5 stars. So they're not really actually doing that well. They're just ahead because of that extra 5 points. And of course, Wes is freaking killing it. So now he ends up partnering with Naya, I believe, and they're paddle boarding. I don't even know what that's called. But I believe they're all the way in the back because Naya is pretty much not paddling at all. She's taking a lot of breaks, and Wes is doing a lot of the work, so they're not moving anywhere. She's freaking terrible. She's big. And she was pretty good in the puzzle. I believe that she made up some points, but otherwise she has no heart. She's not very athletic. Just terrible, just terrible. But definitely Wes is definitely killing it. I think these two guys can pretty much make it up and come and overtake him if they just get some lucky points, especially now where they have decent partners with them. I believe in the front here is was it Mark? I think that's Mark. It's Mark in the front there. And you see Wes and Naya all the way in the back, because and you can see her not like freaking paddling. Currently in last place. You can see that. Wes and Naya in last place there. Not even paddling. Not even paddling. Not even. Oh, she's finally moving. She finally realized she was in a competition and she's gonna move. Just useless, man. I just freaking incredibly useless. So let's skip to the end of the third place. We have Janae and Brad. And second, I think, is Nehemiah and Kellyanne. So first is Mark and Kayla. All right. So, yeah, I think that's Mark and Kayla. No, first place is actually Mark and Kellyanne. Damn, got them mixed up. So Mark and Kellyanne is first there, and you see second is Nehemiah and Kayla. Then, all right. So third is Brad and John A, and of course last is freaking Wes and Naya. All right. So Kellyanne and Mark got 4 points, which means Nehemiah and Kayla gets 3 points, which gives 2 points to Mark and John A, and 1 point to Wes and Naya. So Naya pretty much screwed Wes over and give him that 1 point there. And that 4 points is not going to do Mark much good because he's all the way in the bottom. But that 3 points could make up the difference with Nehemiah there. Nehemiah was like what, at 15, and Mark was at 18, which that 3 points just puts Nehemiah at 18. and West gets 1 point, which means he's at 19 now. See if I'm correct. See if I'm correct in my analysis. Yeah, West is at 19. Nehemiah is at 18, just like I thought. And Brad is at 16 now. They all just caught up to him because of Naya. Mark just got, he had 9 before, so did he have 9? I think he had 9, and he just made 4 points. That math doesn't work out. So he had 8 before? I don't remember. All right, see, and you can see on the other side with the ladies, John A just made 2 points. Oh yeah, she was in third. So she got 2 points. Kayla got 3 points and put her 15 there. Yeah, the ladies, their points are pretty sad. I'm not sure why that is. Yeah, but the guys are starting to make up some points there. I think it's because they're switching off and sharing points where the ladies are just, it makes sense. The numbers should be even on both sides. Because they all have the same amount of points to gain. So what's the number so different? I don't know. I don't know what happened there. This makes sense to me. So what's the next competition after that? The next one is wrestling. They are going to be out on a platform. I mean, it's a competition you see a lot in Survivor, but I didn't know they had this in the challenge where the, oh, okay. It says they had it in the Gauntlet 2. I think, see here, Gauntlet 2, 2005. I believe CJ said that was the first season he hosted. So they had that competition then. Okay, so let's get a look at what it is. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, and the first, you can see right there, they have to push each other off the platform. The first one is Wes versus Brad, and just gonna skip that. Brad wins. Brad just chucks him off. So yeah, so Brad wins that first one, which means Wes didn't gain any points. He just got 0 points, and Brad just got 5 points, which puts Wes further behind. And Brad is now in the lead with that 5 points. Next up is Kayla versus no. I think it's Kellyanne versus Naya. And of course, Naya won because she's like 6 foot tall, and Kellyanne is tiny. So Naya just got an extra 5 points freely given to her because of her size. She's such garbage. Next is Nehemiah versus Mark. Obviously, Nehemiah loses because Mark is freaking huge compared to him. So that just gives Mark 5 points. So he's making up points. He had 12 before. That gives him 17. So Mark is back in the running because of that. Then, of course, last is John A versus Kayla. And I believe John A wins because she's bigger. She's bigger than Kayla. She has a weight advantage on Kayla. So John A wins that one. Giving John A 5 points. Johnny had what, 17 before? So she's like what, at 22? So let's see if I was correct. All right, so there we have it. Get Johnny at 22, like I thought. West is still at 19. Look, Mark didn't move. Did they add the points? The score over here is still the same, but this one moved. What the hell is going on? John A got her 5 points. Now I got a 4. What? Oh yeah, Naya did get 5 points because I believe she was at 14 before or something. So, and Kayla didn't have 10. So what the hell is happening? Who's gaining points? I don't understand what the hell just happened. Next competition, they have to carry sandbags to the sand. So it's just an endurance thing. You see right there, and they're doing it in teams. So you got Nia and Brad in the same team. And I believe there's a 60-pound sandbag that Brad has, that Mark has, and she has the 40-pound sandbag. So they're all carrying that, and they're in the same team. They win, actually. They start out in the back, but they end up winning because Nia is huge, so the weight difference doesn't really matter to her. So she can beat any of the girls, and then of course Mark right there. So and they have to make it as a team. So of course they win. And Brad was kind of exhausted. Brad was exhausted, so he kept falling behind. And John A literally had to take the 60-pound bag from him and give him the 40-pound just so they can continue. Wes was, whose team was he on? I think he was with no, he was with Kayla. Wes was with Kayla. I think they did decent. And then Nehemiah was with Kellyanne. So, Nehemiah was with Kellyanne, but what they did, they tried to make the trip. They tried to do half the weight first and then try to go back and get the rest of the weight. And they were the only ones that did that. Every other team tried to make it in one trip. So Nehemiah and Kellyanne ended up being last place because they had to make 2 trips. Right. So we have Brad, we have Mark and Naya making their first. So they got 4 points, but apparently the points doesn't freaking matter because they're not adding it up for some reason. So then after them was Wes and Kayla, and they got 3 points. And next after that was, it should be, John A and Mark, giving them 2 points. And of course, last is Nehemiah and Kellyanne, right, with 1 point. Right. So let's look at this ridiculous score again. So Kellyanne has 10. Mark just got 4. But he also had 5 from like that competition. With all right, so Mark just got 4. All right, and Johnny just got, no, Nia got 4. Was she at 19 before? Well, yeah, she wasn't 19, so she just got 4. And so those points added up. West just got 22. So there's 2 people ahead of him. Got 24 from John A, 23 from Naya, and then now West is at 22. All right, so that's how the scores. Looks like Brad and Kayla just evened out. Kellyanne and Mark. Kellyanne is way down there. Mark made up a little bit of points. Brad and Caleb even out, and again 19 from Nehemiah. Nehemiah is not going to win this. Nehemiah is not going to win this. I don't see him winning. I mean, he's barely holding in there as it is. He's not winning this. He hasn't won any of these. Brad could possibly win. Mark could possibly win, and of course West most likely to win, and John A most likely to win for the girls. Naya, there's no way she's winning this. she's going to shit the bed. She's going to quit at some point. Kayla could possibly is going to challenge John A, I think. But Kellyanne, there's no way. There's no way. She's a disappointment in too many areas. It's like you think the things that she's strong at, she ends up failing. The things that she's weak at, surprisingly, she might do decent. But she's just inconsistent and just not someone you want to count on for a win. So I don't think she's going to make that. So now it is the overnight portion of the competition, which means they have to stay up late. But I think there's a twist where they send them to a yacht in the middle of the ocean, and they gave them food and they can sleep comfortably. I guess it's some kind of new thing that they're going to do this season, so they don't get to stay up late and then wake up early in the morning to do the next challenge. So we can skip that portion of the competition. That yacht part took up a lot of time for no reason. So finally, it's the next day. And what is the next challenge? Next challenge, they have to do a series of stages, and then they have to swim back to the yacht, I believe, in order to win. So what is the first stage? First stage, what's the first stage? Oh, right. There's going to be an elimination this time because there's too many people. So they're going to eliminate one guy, one girl. So the four people with the lowest scores are going to compete against each other. So it's going to be Kayla and Kellyanne competing, and Mark and Brad competing to get to the second stage. So they have to assemble a crossword puzzle. All right. Kellyanne actually studied the map for the puzzle, so she has an advantage. Kayla didn't. So she most likely is not going to win that. Between Brad and Mark, I think Mark probably has an advantage. He seems smarter than Brad, to be honest. But as it turns out, the winner of the crossword was actually Kayla. She beat Kellyanne because Kellyanne, as I said, is inconsistent and just can't, and always seemed to be shitting the bed when she should be winning. She lost, even though she studied the board with all the names of the countries. So the crossword is pretty much just countries that challenges have been taking place before, and they were given the answer earlier when they were in the house. The whole map showing where all the challenges took place was already set up there, and all they had to do was just assemble a crossword puzzle of those names of the countries. So for some reason, Kelly ended up losing that, even though she studied the board, and so Kayla wins and Kellyanne is going home. When it comes to Mark and Brad, Brad had no idea what the hell he was doing. Mark misspelled two countries. He misspelled Brazil by putting an S in it instead of a Z, and he needed that S for USA. So he didn't know USA was on the board there. So he was kind of screwed. And Brad, for some reason, in the middle of just losing his mind, he figured out one country. I think it was Argentina, which was the longest country. And after he figured that out and he put all those letters there, all the other letters fell into place, and he ended up winning. So that means Mark is going home and Kellyanne is going home, and Kayla and Mark gets to continue in the competition. So that's that for them. Okay, so the next stage competition, it's a race to an eating competition. Ooh. Who doesn't love the eating competition? All right, so there we go. They have to eat brains, I believe brains, hearts, and other gizzards from animals. I think there's some maggots in there as well, but they have to eat 2 pounds of it. So you can see the scale below the thing there. So they have to eat 2 pounds of this. I would just eat 2 pounds of the biggest thing and just eat that instead of all the other ridiculous things. So I would go with, I think the biggest thing is a heart. Is it a heart? A cow heart or something? I would have eaten that. But that's the eating competition. The first one to finish the eating competition was Wes. Wes was the first one to finish. Second to finish was, I can't remember. Is it a guy or a girl? I think the second to finish was Brad. Yeah, the second to finish was Brad. And then the third to finish was John A. And then Kayla. I believe Naya and Nehemiah didn't finish the eating portion at all. And while they were doing it, Naya wanted to quit. She's a quitter, like I said. So those two didn't finish that portion of the eating competition. So the next competition after the eating competition is a puzzle, a star puzzle that they have to assemble. Image of it. All right, so you can see what the puzzle looks like there. They have to just assemble those pieces there. And you get Brad trying to assemble that green piece. And I believe Wes is already ahead of him and is going to be the one to finish first. So Wes finished his. There we go. See right there, Wes just finished his. And I think Brad is still doing his over somewhere. No, where is he? Oh, and John A just got there and she started doing hers. I think that's Brad over here doing his. All right, so that after Wes finished and goes to the next competition, I believe the first one to finish the puzzle after Wes was not Brad. I think it was John A. John A finished after Wes, and then Brad, and then Kayla, and Nehemiah and freaking Naya still at the eating portion. They haven't finished. Like I said, trash. Show you the image there of Nehemiah dancing and Naya crying while they're still eating. Yeah. All right. So Brad finished his puzzle. See right here. Brad just finished his puzzle. And then Kayla is still working on hers. So she's going to finish after that. And they're going to move on to the next station. And it's going to be John A. and Wes working on their next station, which is they have to build some blocks, they have to assemble some blocks all the way to the top, use all the blocks, and assemble a pyramid. All right. So, yes, you can see the first one to finish is Wes right there. So he has to take his paddleboard. You can see the paddleboard there. His is blue, his is down here. Take his paddleboard and swim out to the, you see the boat out there in the ocean. You have to swim out to that in order to win. So pretty much Wes has a head start on winning the challenge. And the next one to finish after Wes was John A. John A finished and she's swimming out. All right, and after Johnny finished, I think Kayla finished before Brad, and she started swimming out. Then Brad finished and went out to swim out. But the first one to get to the boat, and the winner for the guys is obviously Wes right there. He's the winner for the guys. And then John A. John A is the winner for the girls. So that is it. That is your winners. And so that's John A's is two-time champion of and it's back-to-back of the Challenge All-Stars. And that's his Wes first win in a long time. So yeah, that is how it ends. I knew Wes and John A was possibly the most likely to win, and they ended up being the ones most likely, the ones that actually won. There's no way Naya was going to win. I already knew it. She's a quitter, and she's not that good. So obviously she didn't, and she didn't even finish the eating portion. And Nehemiah, I never believed in him, and he didn't finish the eating portion as well. Brad and Kayla, they were decent. They really hung in there, and they were getting close, but no dice, second place, they can't be winners. So that is it for season finale of the Challenge All-Stars. Till next time.